of thing goes. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do something like this problem number 1 on here. This is one of the first things that you learned how to do this semester, and I'm going to just display the calculator on here and look at this like this. Okay, so one way that we learned how to do this is like this. I'll just show you the 2 ways. You can take 0.875 and you can multiply that by 60 because you're changing this to degrees, minutes, and seconds. And when you do that, just going to go like this, just going to go 0.875 and then times 60. There's another way that I taught you how to do this too. So that's going to give 52.5 is what that gives. Okay, so what you would get is 47 degrees. That's 47 degrees. 52 minutes is what that is. And then what do you do with the 0.5? Multiply it by 60 again, which gives 30 seconds like that. So you can do it like that. Another way that I taught you guys how to do this, I'll just display this on the calculator. So if you have a TI calculator, you can also go like this. You can go just 52.5, and then you can go to the angle command. You can go second apps, then go down to DMS. If you've learned how to do that, you can do that as well like that, and it does it automatically, okay, like that, okay? So it's 52, hold on, did I put the right thing in? No. Oh, I put the wrong thing in, I'm sorry. 47, I want to go 47.875, not logarithm. 47.875, then go second angle, then go to DMS, and then it'll give the same answer, okay, like that. So you can do that either way that you choose to, okay? All right, okay, let's see. This second problem right here says find what S is. What's the formula for finding an arc length? Alpha R. I told you what formulas I gave you. I gave you that formula. Okay, I'll tell you where students mess up the most on this problem. What do you have to do with 88? You better put it in radians or you're going to get a ridiculous answer. I mean, totally ridiculous, okay? So you're going to take 88, multiply that by pi over 180, okay? You can reduce the fraction if you want to, but you're going to end up using your calculator on this anyway. So what I would suggest that we do is just take that angle, 88 pi over 180, and then I would multiply that by the radius of 6 feet like that, go to your calculator, and then round it off, okay, like that. Okay, I wouldn't even bother going through and doing decimals. I'd just do all the rounding, see at the end like this, okay? So what we'd want to do here is just go like this on the calculator. You can go 88 times the pi key, and then you can divide by 180 if you want to. You can do this several ways. Do that, and then take that answer times 6. So that would give about 9.22 if I had you round that to 2 decimal places. What's that? The 6 is the radius. So if you kind of look at what I did here, I'm taking the angle in radians times the radius. So what I went ahead and did is I just did 88 pi divided by 180, then multiplied it. Okay, like that. Okay, so that would end up being 9.22. Okay, like that. Okay. Okay, so we got that. Now that's what S is. I also want you on this problem to find the area of the sector. Okay, so that'd be the other thing. So the formula for the area of a sector was 1/2 alpha R squared. Again, I give that formula. You're just going to know how to crunch it out. So we would do 1/2 times alpha. Alpha, again, has to be in radians. So I'm going to just put that in like that. The radius is 6, so you got to square that like this, okay? Then I'll just put the calculator. You can do this all in one step on your calculator. That's what I recommend that you learn how to do, is just do these things basically in one step. So this would kind of go like this. You could use 0.5 for a half if you wanted to. Then you can say times in parentheses. You could go 88 pi divided by 180. This is one way to do it, like that, okay? And then times 6 to the second is 36. You could do that in your head if you want to. So then your area would end up being 27.65 if you rounded that off. Okay? All right? So you would just want to, all this problem's really testing you on is the formulas. That's it. So that would be 27.65 would be what the area is then. Okay, and what are the units for area? Square feet. Okay, so you want to have your units down too. Okay, that's a pretty important thing. Okay, all right. So you want to be sure that you know how to handle those two things. I always give you something in degrees because I'm testing to make sure that you know how to change that to radians. That's pretty important. What's that?
Can you?
I can. Okay, I post this, sometime today. You can see the thing because we're in a live recording right now. You're being recorded, and you're going to be on YouTube too. Okay, if that's okay with you. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's do a triangle problem on here now. So one thing that I like you to be able to do is a triangle. Then I also like you guys to be able to do a few applications on these things too. So just kind of to begin with here, one of the things that we learned on these right triangles is there's sort of a naming convention to this. So I'm going to draw out a right triangle. And we always said that C was the right angle. And we said A and B were the other two angles in either order. And they're capitals. And then the sides were lowercase. So that's A, that's B, that's C, like this. So in this particular problem, I'm giving you that A is 6.5 centimeters. I'm giving that C is equal to 10.3 centimeters, like that. Okay? So we're going to find the rest of the parts of the triangle like this. So that means we got to find angle A, angle B, and we got to find side C like that. So those are going to be the things that we're going to work on. So first of all, how would you find the missing side on this?
C squared minus A squared.
Yeah, that's Pythagorean theorem, so you can do that. And of course, you'd have to use your calculator on that. Stop that. Okay, let's see. Let's do that. So at the side, let's do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, so it looks like I gave A is 6.5 squared. We want to find B. Then we want to do the 10.3 squared like that. Okay? All right, so if I do 6.5 squared, that's going to give 42.25 plus B squared. Then if I do 10.3 squared, okay, that's going to give 106.09. Then you can subtract both sides. So you can do 106.09 minus 42.25, like that. Okay, so then that's going to give, looks like 63.84. Okay, square root both sides. And that's going to give like 7.99. I'm just going to round that to 8. Okay, so we have B is equal to 8. So that's the answer to that problem. Okay, all right. Now you've got to pick an angle and you've got to find it. So Pythagorean theorem, by now you should have that down to a science, right? Because we've done it like over and over and over again. All right, let's pick an angle. And let's kind of crunch this out. Now, if you want to find an angle, I like to have students use what I gave you. So that's the way I'm doing it. You don't have to. But if you talk this out, what did I give you? I gave you opposite over hypotenuse. So which one is opposite over hypotenuse? The sine. So we say sine of angle A equals side opposite, 6.5, over 10.3, like that, okay? And what you have to do on your calculator on this is you have to do the inverse sine. So if you're finding an angle, you have to do the inverse sine of 6.5 over 10.3. Okay, so you do that basically on your calculator like this. We learned how to do this to learn how to do these triangle problems, basically. So you have to go on your calculator. You've got to go secant sine, and then you want to do just the 6.5, and you want to divide that by the 10.3. Okay, like that. Okay, so that would give an angle of about 39 point, let's just round that to maybe 1 decimal. Okay, so 39.1 is what that's going to be. Right, so we got that. And then how do you find angle B? Just subtract from 90. So 90 minus 39.1 would give the final answer of that problem like that. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be 50.9 degrees, and that closes off the problem. So one thing that you want to be able to do is just a triangle problem. okay, like that. Finding 3 missing parts. I give you 2 parts, you find the other 3, okay? And 1 step requires trigonometry, okay? Everybody got that okay, or any questions? Okay. All right, let me move down here and kind of get set up a couple of the right triangle problems here. Okay, so typically one of the things I do on a right triangle problem, I try to give a diagram so that there's not language barrier issues. A lot of times students have trouble on these problems because of the language of setting it up. So I don't give you the exact diagram, but I give you enough information to help you reason it out. So this problem right here basically is saying you're on top of a cliff, and that cliff, it looks like it says that that is 350 feet high, is that piece. Okay, then it says the angle of depression to a boat is 20 degrees. This is a place a lot of times where students mess up, is if you're looking at angle of depression, you're looking down at something. So the angle of depression is actually this angle right here, okay? It's not this angle. A lot of times students, never fails, always see students want to give that angle. This is the angle of depression. So that means this angle is the same. So that's the angle that you're going to be looking at in the triangle diagram. And then what you're wanting to do is find how far the boat is from the base of the cliff. So X is going to be that distance there, okay? So now you're all set up and you're ready to use trigonometry to find the value of X, okay? So talk out what you have like the last problem. This is the angle. You have a side opposite. You have an adjacent. So what are you going to use?
Tangent.
Tangent, good. So you're going to say tangent of 20 degrees is equal to opposite 350 over X. Okay, then what you can do on that is you can go through and you can cross multiply and solve that. Okay, so if you do this, you would have X times the tangent of 20 degrees is equal to 350. Now you divide both sides by the tangent, and you can just kind of do that in your head, then you get your calculator out. So 350 divided by tangent of 20 should give the answer of the problem, like that. So you got to know the definitions of the trig functions and then be able to put that together correctly. So that is going to be 156.4 degrees, like that. Not degrees, that's feet. Thank you, 156.4 feet, like that, okay? That's less work than the last problem because all you're really doing is just trying to find one part of the triangle like that, okay? And by the way, check the mode you're in on your calculator. Did I do something wrong?
I think you're in radians.
Am I in radians? Oh, what did I just say? See, I saw that funny look that you had on your face right there, so I knew I had to be doing something wrong, okay? Let me try again. 350 divided by tangent of 20 is going to give 961, which is much more logical. Okay, so 961.6 would be the answer to that problem. Okay, so don't make that mistake on the test. I always see students do that too. I always try to remind you before you do the test, be sure that you always check the mode that you're in on your calculator, okay? All right, a couple other things here. These are all just kind of basic calculator things. One thing I definitely wanted to go through on this, because there's kind of a problem area, particularly on this one. That's one of the most commonly missed problems on this, as well as this one. Okay, so let me just kind of display the calculator and run through how you're going to do these then. Okay, so first of all, on this one, now notice that I want my answer. I'm saying I want the answer to be in degrees. Okay, I want it to be in decimal degrees, minutes, and seconds, like that. So this is a problem that you're learning how to do totally on your calculator. So since I'm asking for degrees, you need to be in degree mode, okay? Then how do you do this problem? You're finding the angle alpha, so what do? I go inverse cosine of negative 0.567, like that, then that gives that. Now, you can convert that to degrees, minutes, and seconds. One of the simplest ways to learn how to do this is just go second, apps, then go to DMS and let it do that automatically for you, like that. Then you could give me the answer, which would be 124 degrees, 32 minutes, and 29 seconds, like that, okay? All right, so that's it. 124, what was that again? I forget so fast. 32:29. Okay, like that, okay? Now watch part B carefully. This is one that students really mess up on severely. You do not have a cosecant button on your calculator. So what you have to do is you have to realize that the cosecant is really just the reciprocal of the sine. So you want to start the problem that way. Okay? Now what you end up doing on your calculator is you're going to end up doing the inverse sine of 1 over 3.5 like that. Be sure that you study this one carefully because students a lot of times do this one totally wrong. So you got to go exactly like this. You want to be in degree mode again because I stated that I wanted the answers. Then you can just go inverse sine 1 over 3.5 like that. Okay, so that'll give 16.6. If I wanted that to be in degrees, minutes, seconds, you go second, apps, DMS, and then it'll give the answer like that. So that's 36, let's see, 1636.6. Okay, so you do that. And I'll tell you what students do all the time on this problem. It's very common. Students will go through and they'll go inverse sine of 3.5, get the answer, then take the reciprocal. Wrong. You must do it that way, so you got to pay attention to that, okay? Now, these kind of problems right here, pretty straightforward. I'm not going to do these, but this one, I want to just remind you of how you do this one. If you do the secant, first of all, that's in radians, right? So you've got to pay attention to whether I'm giving you something in radians or degrees, so when you're doing this. So how do you do the secant on a calculator? You're going to do 1 over the cosine of negative 3.2, like that. So you do that. Now, you got to be sure when you're doing these problems, so you're going to convert back and forth from radians to degrees, so that's an important part of what you're going to be doing on the test. Okay, is that, okay? All right, and then I think I had one more triangle problem here, and let me just real quickly set this one up and show you what to do on this. So this one says the surveyor's on the ground is 100 yards from the base of the tower. Okay, the angle of elevation to the top of the tower is 15, and then it says how far is the surveyor from the top of the tower? That's x, because here's your surveyor, here's the top of the tower. So it's that, okay? Talk out what you have. We have an angle. What did I give you? Adjacent, and I gave hypotenuse. So what do you use if it's adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So we'd say cosine 15 degrees is equal to 100 over x, and then you would solve that equation, right? Okay, so it's adjacent over hypotenuse. You can cross multiply, so you get x cosine of 15 degrees is equal to 100. Then you can divide both sides to get x is equal to 100 over cosine 15 degrees. Be sure that you're paying attention to the mode that you're in on your calculator, of course. So that would be 100 divided by cosine of 15. So that's going to be 103.5 would be the answer. Okay, that's it. Okay. All right. So we did a really kind of big overview on this, and these are the kind of things that that you want to definitely know to be able to do on this test. Is what I recommend that you do on this is take these practice problems and do them. And don't try not to look at anything. Now you can go back and look at what I'm going to post here. It'll be on D2L. There will be a little link thing where I'm putting these videos. So if you do that, you can go back and refer to any of this stuff that you